after the presentation that will be done by Albert Cañigueral. So he is the BSC One-Stop Shop Manager. After that, we will have a very interesting panel to discuss about the needs and about AI development in the market. So let's start with the presentation by Albert Cañigueral. Albert.
Thank you, Mariona. Whoops. Pleasure to be here to talk about the services that we've been developing on the AI Factory. First of all, the AI Factory is an European-wide project trying to bridge the gap for SMEs, startups, and public bodies for them to access the supercomputing, resources, and to get some AI consultancy, data access, models access on that front. For that, we've defined a customer journey, which is quite simple. At the beginning, we ask people to fill a form. You have some leaflets here, and you can fill a form that will take around 2 minutes to understand if you are an SME, understand if you are a startup, which sectors are you working on, what is your challenge, what data do you have have experience on HPC, you don't have experience on HPC, these kind of things. Then we go for a half an hour quick interview in order to have a one-page diagnosis with more detailed information, the technicalities, the team that you have, so we can understand from the service catalog that this is the center of the whole operation, what can we offer to you. And from there, we go into the service delivery, and finally, we will have a survey and the monitoring process. So the presentation now will be focused on the core of the whole system, which is the service catalog. We are now presenting the version of March, so Service Catalog will evolve. This is the version 1.0, the one that we are releasing here at Mobile World Congress. And with the panel, we will also discuss what's the evolution of the service. There is a short video explaining the big categories of the Service Catalog, and then we will go into more detail to the services and with some examples with the startups. So if you've seen, there are two macro blocks. One is more like the core services related to AI, and a second block more on the enablement, ecosystem, training. And I will go like block by block, explaining a little bit the nature of each block and giving one or two examples. So the first and the core service, obviously being at BSC, being a supercomputing facility, is access to supercomputing resources, compute resources, storage, and so on. So one example, and we have services to guide you how to access the resources. All the services, just to be clear, are for free. So we'll guide you how to access the free opportunities that you have to get access to mostly GPUs, but also some CPUs, and we will provide the technical assistance for you to onboard in the computer, to get your data, to get your models in the system, and to run your services. One successful example we have is from Turkey. In this case, it has been a startup that trained a model starting from a Llama 3 model, an open weight model. They fine-tuned this model for the legal domain in Turkish language, and they were using the GPUs of Mare Nostrum 5 in order to develop this model. Then another example that we have is the data services, which is also the basis of any AI project. Actually, if you go to the Axio booth, you will see Agricola. They are exhibiting there, and you can ask them. So they have this robot in demonstration there, and they have a lot of sensors in the ground, but they were missing the data from the weather forecast and from the satellite images. And because we have a lot of expertise on these domains, and you can see a demo here with the Destination Air project, we assisted them on the data discovery. What type of data sets available where they could be benefit from, and we help them to access these data sets on that phone. We also have data stewardships, helping a little bit on the compliance, on the data, how to gather data. Data as a service, you can download data sets for your projects, and you can use them in Mare Nostrum or somewhere else. And we also allow people who want to publish, who want to contribute to the digital commons of the BSC AI Factory. They can also have a model and dataset publication. Obviously, the AI doesn't exist without models, so we also have a block of services around models, model fine-tuning, model benchmarking, prompt engineering, RAG systems, and this catalog will be evolving. This is an example of a spin-off from UPC. They simulate nationwide scale of energy systems, and they try to predict how to evolve the systems to be resilient in the next 10, 15 years. So it's very complex simulations. They reach the limit of the hardware that they have in-house, so we could help them using the initial service of access to the computing and also benchmarking. They were trying different approaches. They didn't know which approach would work better for their needs of simulation, so we help them, guiding them also how to, what model evolution, what model evaluation work best. Another key element, especially being in Europe, is the Trustworthy AI. And we have a consultancy on access to self-assessment tools. So there are a number of well-known tools where people can self-evaluate the risks that their project, their ideas, their technologies might contain. And we have a little bit of consultancy. This is Fluendo, which is a SME from Barcelona. They work a lot with audio-video codecs for decades. And now they are moving into voice cloning for voice actors and actresses. And obviously, especially thinking on the future of work, you can do that in ethical or unethical ways. So we were talking with them on how to do it in the proper way, and actually they are working with the trade union representing the voice actors on that front. And if you go to their website, you will see the IA veu, which means IA voice in Catalan, building legal, ethical, and trustworthy AI voice technology in Catalan. And last but not least, we also have more ad hoc little projects for some hours, around 30 hours of consultancy that we can provide on more ad hoc projects. It can be general or it can be specific for climate, for language technologies, for health technologies. So, and we are trying to help people with different needs. Also, one of the key sectors is the public sector. In this case, it has been a project with the Parlamento de Canarias, the Canary Island Parliament, where they already had a system of transcription. They already had the sessions of the parliament from audio to text, but they wanted to have a RAG system in order to ask questions about the history of the parliamentary sessions and to ask what is the opinion of these people or this party on this topic over the years. So we help them integrate the open source ALIA model, which is promoted by the Spanish government and developed at BSC, connected to this project. So we have a number of core services, and here we have like 2 quick testimonies of customers that have already been helped through BSC AI Factory.
Speaking to the BCC AIF team was very productive, as they are very knowledgeable in terms of the technical requirements, but also how they can be met at the BSC facilities. At the same time, they are very knowledgeable on the business needs that young startups have, and that was also very helpful.
The AI Factory team has provided us from the first day very effective and very reactive support. So we could deploy our models on their servers, get the GPUs we wanted, and do the evaluation we needed to be up and running. So now our project is on the rails. On top of that, they just confirmed that we'll be on their booth at the Mobile World Congress 2026, which is great news.
So as we have another block of services, and as Stefan was saying, we have this idea of co-marketing also, because when startups sign up as customers for the BSC AI Factory, they also can benefit from the shared co-marketing, and this is what we are doing here. So during the Mobile World Congress 26, we have 16 different startups, 8 during 2 days, 8 during on the following 2 days. So they could access one of the services, which is co-marketing. You can see some of the startups logo here, and I encourage you to go around the booth and to get to know them. And we also have in the center of Barcelona, with Tech Barcelona, a co-working space. Some of you have already been there. It's at Pier 07. through different calls. We already incubated 20 startups, and we have an open call to host more startups in incubation, co-working, and acceleration services that we will be developing. So we have very good facilities with, and not only the facilities, but also the meeting, the engagement with the Tech Barcelona ecosystem, and we have very good feedback from this service. And some of them, because being of the co-working, they also end up exhibiting in this space. And as I said, if you know any startup, SME that can apply, please, there is an open call. You go to our LinkedIn page and you can apply. And it's not only in Barcelona, we are opening spaces in Portugal, in Guimarães, Lisbon, and Bucharest. So please apply to be part of this. Another key service is the training and skills development, because you can have a lot of data, a lot of machine, but without skills, skilled people, it's very hard. And we have a large course catalog combining scientific, non-scientific, and more strategic programs. You can go to the website with all the course catalog. I'm highlighting this one because it started yesterday. So it's a self-paced online course on prompt engineering. And as you can see, some of the names that sign up here, like Agricola, or as I was saying, Fluendo, and some others are users of the other service. So we are really focusing on providing several services to the startups that are part of the BSC AI Factory program. And last but not least, the team of the one-stop shop, we are doing all the enablement services, which means doing these interviews, providing all the legal journey, because there are a number of terms and conditions to be signed, certificates and so on. So we've been already providing more than 250 interviews and guiding people through this process. And this is just, and what we are trying to do is to evolve, no? And this is what we are going to be discussing now, because this is the version 1 of the service catalog. We are quite happy with it. We think we are providing value to startups, SMEs, and public sector, but this is not the end of the journey. This is just the beginning. So, and we don't know exactly in which directions we should evolve. We have some ideas, and with Mariona, we will be discussing the next steps. We are around. We have some leaflets here with more information. We have key account managers and people from the one-stop shop team here. So reach us for additional questions. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. So I hope that you enjoy it. We are quite proud of it, and we are starting all the operations to provide these services and the delivery of services. So now let's start the second part of this session. I'm going to invite our panelists. So first, Mr. Kamer Kaya. He's an associate professor at Sabancı University and founder of Dakik Software Technologies in Turkey. Please. Thank you. Oh, yeah, maybe, yes. So then Stefan Regenak couldn't join, so we are missing one of the panelists because he had left for France, and he's not going to join. So second, it's Daniel Quintas from Comudel, city of Comudel, and he's a startup, representing a startup from Portugal. Yeah, we can change, yes. It will be, yeah, better like that. Okay. And finally, Mr. Jaume Miralles, Director General of Artificial Intelligence at the Generalitat de Catalunya. He's representing the public body's voice in this as target group of AI Factory. So let me take this out, no? We'll be closer like that. Okay. Okay, thank you for joining us. So, so these days we have been doing, we hold our service advisory committee of BSC AI Factory. So they are members of our advisory committee, and we were asking them what are the main barriers that they face when they have to develop AI, and how BSC AI Factory can meet these barriers. Okay, so maybe we can start a discussion freely. So Jaume, if you want to explain a little bit what are your main thoughts as public body, so Jaume Miralles, Director General of Artificial Intelligence at Generalitat. He represents how the administration is facing this challenge of artificial intelligence and what are the main barriers that you face.
Okay, thank you, and good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me here. Yes. Hello? Now? Okay. I was saying that thank you for inviting me here. No? It looks like... hello, hello? So maybe with a little bit more voice.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you. And Generalitat de Catalunya at the end is it's a big corporate, no? We could say that. It's including all the public sector, different organizations. We are like 200,000 people working there, no? But with AI, it's like a startup. I mean, there are many opportunities to do things, but the first thing is business leaders need to know what can be done and what use cases are safe, what others are risky, and lose this fear of start acting and doing things. Because from the technical stuff or we can put the platforms, we can put the governance, but you need business leaders that really want to do things and they know that they can do it with artificial intelligence. So I'm also wondering how to use the service catalog even to help train the business leaders so that they really see that it is feasible, that it's not magic, but it's not also rocket science, and there are many use cases that can be done with very commodity technology.
Yeah.
So I think that also relevant not only for startups, but also for big companies.
Okay. Yes, thank you. So maybe it's a matter of combining a little bit the vision of the users, but also the technical implementation. In the case of administration, you have lots of concerns in terms of
there are
liability.
Many needs. There are many needs of, think in government, not only in the citizen requesting services, but also think in education, think in health, think in the maintaining infrastructures along all the country. So there are many challenges. Today we were there looking at drones, monitoring the landscape and doing analysis. So there are many possibilities, but sometimes if you don't know this is feasible and that we can do it locally, they don't put it on the top of the agenda. And probably they spend efforts and resources in other initiatives.
Yeah. So the second, if you want to also mention a little bit what are the needs coming from a very technological company, SME in Turkey, what are the barriers that you are facing developing AI?
So there are three things as other companies also need when they want to develop an AI software, AI solution. Well, data is one, talent is the second thing, and the compute power is the third. And we had all of these. We had all of these challenges. And it creates friction. It creates some barrier for us to have an end product that is usable in real life. So I am seeing that Service Catalog answers all these questions, and it really puts you to where you are at. So with the initial alignment, with the initial assessment, so it tells you where you are, and after that it helps you to evolve. It helps you to move easily in a path that needs to be taken by most of the companies that want to do the same. But when the path is clear, when the roadmap is clear, you have less barrier to build that product. So this is why I think that this is a very good answer to all these problems that we have today.
You mentioned the barrier of computing and computation, and we are providing this guidance to work in a HPC environment. So I guess that your company and other companies are not used to work in HPC environment. What do you recommend to them?
So in our case, there weren't any playgrounds that we could use. We learned it in the hard way. So I see that now there is a playground feature that the companies can log in, play, learn while doing things.
Yeah.
So I teach programming, I teach HPC in the university, and there is no better way to learn these things other than doing something with it.
Yeah.
And when you don't have the cluster, when you don't have access to a supercomputer, you don't learn, in fact. You just read, you just think that you have learned. So this is very nice that you have here, the playground thing, in
Yeah.
fact.
So this is the name, playground, just playing, starting and saying. And from your perspective, Daniel Quintas, you are a CTO of a startup in Portugal.
ML engineer, yeah.
Okay. So what are the main barriers that you are facing as a startup?
Since I'm more of a ML guy, I have the technical expertise. But since we are working on a startup, and even SMEs face this, we don't have the expenditure, the capital expenditure that big corporations have. So for us to have access to the type of infrastructure that today's models require, we'd either almost go bankrupt to pay the cloud services that, for example, Google or AWS provide, or we have to have on-prem, which is also very expensive. It's a very capex intensive way of going. So having access to infrastructure is very crucial for us. And the second part, which Kamer also mentioned, was data. Not only data availability, but also data quality. And to be honest, as someone who's been in the field ever since my education, usually data falls into either two spaces, or it's very good, so it's proprietary, so you cannot have access to it or use it for your own models or services, or it's raw data, everything is unstructured, everything is messy. So also being able to have access to data sets and data on the BSC is also very important. Even for some companies, for example, we are in Portugal, so we are Portuguese. Even if you want to move to Spain, for example, there's a lot of data on Catalan, for example, or Spanish in general. And these type of models, language models, depend a lot on the data that you have. So, yeah.
Yeah, you tackle a very important, you mentioned that, and this is very important. So our STAR service, it's guidance for accessing HPC resources. But we have other services in our catalog, and data services are one of the also very important service that we are trying to build. And in this sense, what would you ask, or what do you think that you going to use these data services? From the administration point of view, for example?
Data services?
Yeah.
Well, I think that public administration can help companies not only putting money, sometimes with grants, but also putting data. I think that there is a huge potential with all the data, which at the end it's public data, but it's managed by the administration. In some cases, I think that it makes sense to make it available to certain companies, in a controlled environment. That could be the BSC AI Factory.
Yeah.
And be able to use this data, mix it maybe with other data to create products, like new models, that can solve new types of problems that if you don't have the data to train those models, then it's very difficult to do it. And I think that this kind of training, the administration doesn't need to do these kind of things. It's better to help creating a model of a company that has interest in promoting and using it across the world, and then contribute with data to create a Catalan-Spanish company. And that's I think that to do this, we need an environment well managed, that it's safe, and with capabilities to anonymize data and all these kind of things. So
we are building, right now we do not have it, but very soon we will launch our safe environment to treat sensible data. And I think that this idea, it could be very, very interesting for you. Yeah.
We will need to discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But apart from this, to treating sensible data, do you think that there are other services that we can bring in terms of data? For example, for you.
Other services related with data, you said? Well, about the data part, what I like is the data is close to the infrastructure.
Okay.
So it is really easy to integrate the data in this factory to the computation that you also have from this factory. Usually they are separated. Migrating the data from one place to another is a hard problem. So that's a very nice thing to have. And we will, I mean, whenever we have access, we will use the data that we have, because I mean, there is a saying, you are what you eat, right? So your model is what your data is, in fact. You can cook it in a different way. You can put your touch to that process, so it distinguishes it from your model, from other models, other solutions. But you still need these fundamental things, and this, I mean, AI Factory is providing that to SMEs, and definitely it is something that needs to be used.
Yeah, yeah. So it's important. So we are offering a data space with Dataverse, we say, and there are services for data discovery of all the data that we are offering. So this data could be complementary to the data that the company already has, and it can really make the training and all the processes much more powerful than if the company was alone training with their own data. And this is one of the things that we are really committed, trying to bring as much value as possible in terms of complementary data that we can bring to the projects. So what is your opinion about that?
Just to give a side note, we are at Commutal, we are doing basically an AI business operating system that enables entrepreneurs and business owners to manage and operate their own companies. So we deal a lot with legal and finance data, and it's very important for us to keep privacy of that data, not only for the client side, but also for us, like a ethical way of dealing with this field. And yeah, for us, data privacy is very, very important. And like Kamar said, it's very nice to be able to deal with data in the same place where you deal with the hardware, because usually you either have to download all the data, send it over to a server, use it, and try and hope that nobody has access to it, or you have to provide it in some other way, like an API and so on. And to be able to work on that data, to have access, to even discover new data, it's very important for startups, and especially in sectors that are more privacy focused, like healthcare, financial, and so on and so forth.
Interesting. And in relation with Trustworthy AI services, so compliance, AI, all these matters. So we see that you have seen the example of a company that is treating voice of people. We are going to try to assess companies on how to face with AI Act and compliance with AI. So what do you think about this? What are your needs specifically in public sector, but also in the sectors that you are working with?
Well, we really believe that the artificial intelligence we use has to be responsible, but that's responsible is the way you use it, but it's also the way you create it. So, and here we are talking about creating models, no? I mean, it's not only consuming those that are already trained by someone else, no? I mean, we are talking about a place where it's expected, no, to create, to train models based on data. I think that it's impossible, it's very relevant and critical here to ensure that the data doesn't have any undesired bias, and ensure that all the training process do not introduce any bias or any unethical component, no? So at least that the model that you at the end get, no? At the end, you need the traceability with the data you train, especially if in the data services we're talking, you have this additional focus on managing the bias and all these factors, no? Then you have the linkage. So at least then you have a model that it's, no, doesn't provide any problem, no, from its manufacturing. Then it's the way you use it, which is another chapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's important to ensure that during the process, no, of developing a model, there is not, for sure there is not by intention, but for any error, no, of not doing a correct sampling or whatever, no, you introduce a bias that then you will cost you money fixing it, because for sure, before using, there will be checks. Okay.
And from your experience, do you have any experience about that? So did you face any bias problem with when you were developing your solutions or your models?
Well, we built models for software engineering, so there wasn't many human human factor for that. But we also talk with big companies like banks. So one of the banks which has like 5 to 10 million customers in Turkey. So they say that we are talking with companies and they are SMEs and they are building models for us. But our testing, our assessment says that they are not applicable in real life. So they work well, but we cannot put it in front of our 10 million customers because they are not trustworthy. They do not have an ethical guide while being developed. So these are very big problems. In my university also, we are now trying to hire more people on ethics of AI, responsible AI, trustworthy AI. We are opening new courses on that. So that's a new thing. Yeah. Engineers, well, even if they are very talented, they don't know much about it. So there are many talented brains here, I know, definitely. There are thousands of companies here. They can build something working, but something working in an applicable way, that's something different. Yeah. So putting this to the roadmap of AI Factory is it's something that needs to be here, definitely.
Very interesting. Let's turn the subject. What about talent? Daniel, you are a very young engineer. You are working already in a startup. Do you think that BSC AI Factory can be a motor to attract talent? What does this talent require to be in this market? Because it's a competitive market. So what do you think about that?
I think for us as Europe to be able to attract talent or retain talent, we need companies, and startups and SMEs are part of that. So having an infrastructure where this type of company can exist is like a huge factor to be able to retain talent, because you create more job posts essentially. And also, since it's a new space, it's been around since the 50s, but as its newer boom, or the recent boom currently. And for me, for example, I came from academia, so I was already knowledgeable on those type of models, not this particular, but this type of structures and type of model like transformer and so on and so forth. For example, now being able to have a startup and deploying this type of infrastructure, or deploying in this type of infrastructure and competing with some more financial capable corporates, it's very interesting, and it's something that the AI Factory is being enabling as well. And for example, since we are Portuguese language is not that represented in the big closed or even open source models. Usually they go for like Chinese, Japanese, English, and some Spanish as well. But Portuguese is very underrepresented. So being able to create a model that focuses on the Portuguese language.
Yeah. Yes, because I guess that for startups it's not easy to attract engineers, because there is the big industry with the big models, with all the capabilities, and also the difference in waves and salaries. So what is that?
To add and one other thing, I think at least for us, startups has been working very well to be very close to academia, because you can retain young talent. So for example, we at Commutal, we are developing with Technic, which is a faculty and a University of Lisboa in Portugal. We've been developing some master theses, for example. We're also working on postdoc theses. For example, courses projects. We're also trying to basically leave a footprint in the academia space, in hopes that in the future, or it's been working for us, in the future works even better for us to gather more talent and to retain talent, instead of seeing all my colleagues go to abroad like US and so on.
Yeah. And what about Turkey? You are facing the same? In Turkey, what is the situation on talent?
So what I can say from my experience in my university, so computer science and engineering students, there is a, significant drop in the interest in computer science and engineering. In States, in Europe, it's 5 to 10%. That's what I read. In my university, it is like 30%. So we have a program that's very flexible. The students can choose whatever they want to. And a 30% decrease on computer science and engineering is kind of dangerous, in my opinion, for the talent. Okay, but in the meantime, we are specializing the curriculums with AI. We are adding new things. We are adding new concepts like Trustworthy AI, as I mentioned. So that is how we want to compensate that. Not to have more engineers, but less, but more talented engineers, better engineers that can do all the things that are needed to have a product, a working product. So what I can say is yes, it is dropping, but we have countermeasures, and we are trying to do these things nowadays.
Okay, so if you have to, just to finalize the panel, so if you have to write a wish list in our service catalog, what will you add?
Well, I think that you have all the training, you have data services, there are also the development services to help creating those models, and also the computing. And I think that what probably it's missing is helping also these startups to move away of the BSC and the AI Factory and go to the
market,
to the market, to the real market. And there, this model has been trained with this specific hardware, how can be deployed on the regular clouds or to establish, these new challenges.
Bridge,
Like it looks like this is a safe environment, with a lot of support, but then when you finish, this is not for production. It means that you have to jump to the real world. And there I think that different challenges arises. And I think that having some service to help them go into the productions, maybe it's useful also.
This is a very good wish. It's a very good recommendation because it's one of the things that we have to work. How do we build the bridge towards the market and the scalability for startups?
Exactly.
So I can, if I had the chance, I would add the integration with the VC ecosystem. So what I see is the AI Factory described a clear path to success. So that's good. Technically, it provides everything, starting from co-working space to infrastructure and all the things that we have discussed. And today, for instance, I listened and I talk. So on PR, probably you are also organizing these kind of talks. But in the service catalog, the VC component is not emphasized. So maybe a better understanding of, for the founders, by the way, a better understanding of what is the key critical thing they need to do to sell this thing, to get funding, to find more resources. So if you can also provide that completes everything, I believe.
Yeah. So not only focus on technical part, also in the business side and trying to attire venture capital with the startups to grow, no?
Yes.
Okay, Indas, your wish list.
I wouldn't add anything. I would probably focus more on a few of the services that we are providing. I have the opportunity to say this yesterday as well. But I think the main three things would be cloud infrastructure or infrastructure in general. This is something that we already have. The other two would be probably the training part. For example, someone who came from academia already is aware of some of the HPC's services or ways to run training jobs, for example. But being able to have like I wouldn't say a tutorial, or maybe a guide to all people coming from, for example, cloud providers can use the HPC. And the other way around, for example, once you've reached a point where you're okay with the tests or the experimentation that you had and now you want to go into production, being able to easily move from the HPC to the cloud services or other type of services, I think it's very important. and also the part of the expertise training.
Yeah.
The first part, what I said, is basically for companies who already have the technical expertise, but for companies who don't and want to engage in this new area, everyone is moving into AI. I think it's very important to know that you have help. So I'll probably focus on the expertise, consultancy, and so on.
Thank you very much. So if there is any question in the public, we can attend them. Yeah?
Hello. I have a curiosity now. Currently, AI is the hype. Everybody is interested in that. However, I believe that in the near future, hype will change. And I'm expecting quantum computing to come onto the shelf in the future. And what kind of change are you expecting when quantum computers are becoming more commodity and we'll be using more those devices in our systems? How will affect the supercomputing or high performance computing?
Well, I think that in the shorter term, there is the challenge of the cryptographic break. And for example, here, Generalitat is already working on a strategy for encrypting all communications with a quantum-safe algorithms. That's one side. That's okay. Then in the longer term, we are seeing, this is in the BSC. There is a quantum computer. I think that it still needs some time of maturing, but well, we are doing the path. For example, in my direction, we have all the GovTech, and I was not contemplating quantum because I thought it was not mature enough for government use cases, but looks like start some initial possibilities, especially for weather prevention in very well located areas and so on. So maybe at some point we will start doing some pilots. But I think this is a very early technology. It's true that it was expected to be mature probably longer than what it will be. I mean, people is optimistic in the sense that it will be faster to production than what was expected. But frankly, from my point of view, of use cases applied to the production in government, still is an emerging technology.
We are right now not providing quantum services to SMEs and startups. As BSC, we have quantum computers and are dedicated to research and providing services to researchers, but not now as part of BSC AI Factory. We are not ready for that yet. Yeah. Any other question in the audience? No? Okay, thank you for coming. I hope that all of you have enjoyed the session. You already know what are our services of BSC AI Factory, and you just need to put your data in the type form of BSC AI Factories, and we will support you. Thank you.
Thank you.